Everybody's got a dream client. Nike, Apple, Google. That one massive contract that can change everything, right? One client can change your life, solve all your cash flow problems, and make your spouse finally believe your crazy business idea wasn't a midlife crisis. Here's the truth. That fantasy client, they're probably going to chew you up, spit you out, pay late, and demand 47 rounds of revisions. My dream clients, the ones that quietly saved my business, one of them was a hospital. Not sexy, no Super Bowl commercials, but they order merch damn near every single day. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop chasing unicorns and start feeding workhorses. We'll start about the myth of the dream client, how to spot your real dream client, and exactly how to land them. And I promise I'll make this way funnier than it sounds. Stick around because I'm going to give you 3 questions at the end that can literally change your revenue overnight if you answer them honestly. All right, let's talk about the myth of the dream client. We all have a fantasy client, the one we brag about at networking events, the one whose logo we tattoo on our forehead if it meant a 6-figure contract. In reality, those dream clients are usually nightmares with better branding. They're the ones who want champagne service on a Kool-Aid budget, pay net 90 because that's our policy, and send emails at 11:59 marked urgent. Meanwhile, your real dream client might be a company you've never even thought about, the one that quietly pays on time, orders again and again, doesn't blow up your phone over a $17 line item. When I owned a sports bar, I thought my dream client was going to be a liquor brand or some influencer-driven nightlife crowd. Nope. Turns out my real dream client, a giant corporation down the street that ordered catered lunches 2 times a week. Boring, unsexy, but they literally paid my staff's wages every week. This is the trap most businesses owners fall into, chasing the logo instead of the lifetime value. Okay, let's time travel through my business graveyard. Okay, most of you know this, some of you don't. Each stop has a dream client who wasn't who I expected, right? Real estate agent Chris. I started out thinking my dream client was a luxury home builder or luxury home buyers, the ones with champagne in the fridge and a Range Rover in the driveway. My actual dream client turned out to be a guy buying crappy little houses, 1 a week. They weren't pretty, but over the years, it added up to a monster commission. I built an entire income stream off of this investor who never asked me to stage anything, never nitpicked my contracts, and just kept buying houses. So the lesson was boring, consistent money beats glamorous, unpredictable money. Commercial painting, Chris, right? My painting company has basically 5 clients. That's it. One manages thousands of rental properties. Whenever I'm slow, I call them up and boom, paint job. Then I've got 4 builders who aren't huge, but have multiple projects a month. I haven't advertised in 6 years. So the lesson is your dream client doesn't always scale you by size, but by repeatability. Sports bar Chris, right? Already mentioned it. But the catering gig at a giant corporation saved me. Like literally saved my business because that business is cutthroat and I will never go back to it. And without that, I don't know what would have happened. But it wasn't sexy. There was no Instagram clout, but it was consistent. So the lesson there was the unsexy clients, keep the lights on. Gym owner Chris. Okay, I thought my dream client would be hardcore fitness junkies with expensive personal training packages. Nope, the big money was in corporate memberships and renting the space for events. Again, not sexy. And then we have perch merch Chris. I wanted the Harley Davidsons of the world. And yeah, I mean, I pitched them. I tried. It didn't work. But my real dream client ended up being a cancer center hospital. It ended up being huge. I wasn't even excited about it. It ended up being huge. Orders every single day. We have an online store for them and they call in because the hospital gives promotional products to every single patient that walks through that door. And every single employee needs a variety of different things to wear to work that are branded. So it's the best of both worlds for me. That's the business owner's dream because it's reoccurring, predictable, and you're a vendor, not a vendor auditioning every week. Notice a pattern, right? Every dream client I actually benefited from had 3 things in common: repeat orders, fast payment, and low drama. So here's the part where I ruin your fantasy. Your dream client isn't who you think it is. It's not the whale. It's the one that keeps showing up with a wallet. Ask yourself these 3 questions, right? Who has reoccurring needs for what I sell? No, not who's the coolest or who'd look best in my portfolio. Reoccurring needs, hospitals, property managers, contractors, corporate HR teams, subscription-based businesses, etc. 2, who is easy to serve without draining my soul? You know that client who calls 37 times about a $250 invoice. Fire them. $25,000 client will be silent as a monk. 3, who pays reliably and quickly? Cash in the bank today beats promises tomorrow. And I have been burned on that, especially with my commercial painting. I got burned for $250,000 just waiting and keep working and waiting and keep working. And that ended up being the dream client that turned into a nightmare client. So we stick with what we know now, but you know who I'm talking about. If you can identify clients who check all 3 boxes, congratulations. You just found your real dream client. They may not have a sexy logo, but they're the ones who build your business. So now that we know who your dream client is, how do we get them, right? First, stop chasing logos, start chasing categories. Instead of saying, I want Nike, say, I want hospitals with 500 plus staff who orders uniforms monthly. Second, do research. Find out who the decision makers are. Not the marketing intern, not the receptionist, the actual human who signs the PO. Third, we're going to have to outreach them, right? And we're going to have to cold outreach them. But if you do it right, don't make it creepy, cold outreach works if you do it right. I do 10 outreaches a day. It's changed my business, but don't make it creepy. Research on LinkedIn is fine. Showing up at their kid's soccer game is not. Okay? Fourth, referrals. Bribe your friends. Seriously, if someone knows a decision maker, send them cookies, merch, whatever. I've lightly bribed my way into meetings that turn into 6-figure contracts. Fifth, keep following up. Follow up fast, follow up often. Fast and frequent follow-up wins. One big client I'm negotiating now came from one outreach email and relentless polite follow-ups. Mix dry humor into your outreach. People remember you. They get 100 bland emails a day, but be the one that makes them smile, that gives them a little laugh for the day. Then they'll look forward to your outreach. So let's break down one of mine, okay? I had a big investor client in real estate. One guy, ugly houses. He bought one a week though. Over a year, that was over 50 houses. Each transaction small, but cumulative value massive. How did I land him, right? I showed up on time. I made it easy. I answered my phone. I didn't try to upsell him into luxury. He ended up referring me to his buddies. My income tripled because I stopped chasing glamour and served one boring investor like he was the king of England. Do the same in your business. Treat everyone like they're the king of England. You want everybody to feel like your most important client. But we've also gone after the dream client that turned into a nightmare, right? So now we have some red flags that we're always looking out for, okay? Here are red flags of the nightmare client. The ones that literally say something like, we can't pay you for 90 days, but think of the exposure. They're using their clout. But exposure doesn't pay payroll. They haggle over pennies, but want gold-plated service. And we all know that person. If they're always talking or asking about price, that's a huge red flag for me. And they're always just about to place a huge order. We've had those too. The promise of the big order. That's just coming. It's coming down the line. Just do these small little things first at a really good price, right? We all know those people. And they name drop consistently, but can't sign a check. So we have to fire them politely or just quit chasing them. Energy spent on the wrong client is energy stolen from the right one. Think of it that way. Your dream client isn't the one with the flashiest logo. We've established that. It's the one who repeats, pays, and respects you. Stop chasing unicorns. Start feeding the workhorses. They're the ones that build empires. If you're serious about growing your business on a $0 marketing budget, you need to know who your dream client is. Answer the 3 questions I gave you, make a list, start reaching out, and then come back here and tell me in the comments, who's your dream client? And no, Nike doesn't count unless Phil Knight is your uncle. Subscribe for more $0 marketing tips because I'm literally doing this in real time with no budget. And if it works for me, it can work for you.